So I'm watching Star Trek The Next Generation for the first time in order and just finished Season 5, Episode 3, Ensign Ro. And I want to do this video real quickly because I could go on about this episode. Long story short, we're introduced to the character of Ro Laren, who is a Bajoran Starfleet officer. She has a bit of a chip on her shoulder, and she's actually the precursor to the character of Kira Nerys on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Why I want to talk about this episode real quickly is because it is a great episode depicting the trauma and the atrocities of the Bajoran War. Instead of being shown the trauma, the torture, the destruction of the Bajorans, we're giving it all in dialogue. And I really appreciate this aspect because so many shows nowadays would rather show you the brutality and show you the grotesque nature of what transpired instead of just giving it complete dialogue and leaving it to the audience's imagination. Especially showcased in the scene where Ro Laren talks about when she was a little girl and she witnessed the torture and murder of her father and how that impacted her and still impacts her to this day. So when I was watching this episode, I had to look up who wrote it, and it was Michael Piller, who was a wonderful Star Trek writer who has since passed, and the story was also done by Rick Berman as well. And I just thought that for being a show over 30 years old, it's still so impactful to today and the atrocities of war we're seeing in the Middle East and Ukraine and elsewhere. It's so relevant because we see the aftermath of the destruction, and it's sad to see it almost foreshadow what we're currently seeing in our current world. However, it's done so tastefully and done in a way where it makes you think. It gives you options on how we should go about the atrocities of war, and as survivors of war, what their lives are like and how they move forward after such a traumatic past. And lastly, what I want to say about this episode, as a person of faith, I really appreciated the touching on Bajoran religion and the freedom of religion in Starfleet. When the episode begins, we see Commander Riker tell Ro Laren to take off her Bajoran earring, which signifies her religious beliefs and her family name. The scene, of course, is off-putting because you want Ro to be able to express her beliefs in the way that she desires. However, Starfleet regulation doesn't allow that. So in the final scene, where we see Ro Laren and Captain Picard walking through the planet. So in the final scene where we see Captain Picard and Ro Laren walking through the Bajoran refugee planet, Valo 2, he compliments her for her strength, and he basically tells her that he sees something in her that she may not see in herself, and that there is a strength and a capability that Starfleet can use. She replies that she believes that she has something to offer Starfleet, and he gives her basically an invitation to be a member of the Enterprise crew. However, she has one request, and no dialogue was needed for this moment, just acting. We see Ro put on her earring. She smiles at Picard. He smiles at her. Some faint music cascades, and he says to beam up. And I just thought this was such a beautiful moment in Star Trek, to see the respect for somebody else's beliefs, to give permission for them to express their beliefs in a very subtle yet honorable way. And I think it's something that we can all take from in our daily lives, and how to respect other people's belief systems, their faith. And it's a wonderful moment in Star Trek, and this episode is by far one of my most favorite. Shout out to Michelle Forbes, who played Ro Laren so well and so believable. And again, just wonderful writing and something that makes this show so good.